Welcome back, Walking Dead family, to another review. This is for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 3, title Hunted. I'm the Viking as always, and let's get into this review. Look, the first two episodes for The Walking Dead this season have been absolutely brilliant. I've loved the tension with the Reapers. I love the subway scenes, Maggie and Negan and the Walkers, Daryl's awesome scene. I've really enjoyed it. And also the Commonwealth. We're learning more about them each time we visit that community. But this episode was a little bit different. It wasn't a filler episode, but it definitely was a little bit more calmer than the previous two because of the storyline with Carl and Kelly and Magna and Rosita had some good points to it, especially with Abraham, that dream sequence that Rosita had. But overall, the main kind of talking points for this episode were with Maggie and with Negan. Look, the opening scene was absolutely amazing. You have Maggie, who was in fear of the Reapers. The Reapers came to our group at the end of last week's episode. We were in fear for them. They took out a few people just by throwing kind of weapons like these at them and knives and arrows. The Reapers are a group not to be messed with, and we get to see kind of Maggie have a confrontation with one, and she throws kind of Elijah's weapon at him, and the Reaper kind of stopped and looked. I don't know if he was like, oh damn, she's pretty good at this, or maybe he recognizes Elijah's sword. Because I think Elijah might be a member of the Reapers or a member that left, because he wears similar attire, the mask and the weapons. So maybe that's something that will come up in future episodes. But we got to see Negan being cut. We got to see Gabriel get a cut in his neck as well, and Alden. So, it's kind of unique to see the main characters for a show get hurt. Of course, none of them died in this episode, but it was still cool that the Reapers were able to land blows on our main characters like this. And this shot right here of Maggie was brilliant. I loved it, the kind of light on her face, because she's in fear of these guys. She has met them before and she does not want to mess with them. But then again, it's kind of Maggie's fault that they find themselves in these situations over her hatred to Negan. And we have this side story with Carl, Rosita, Kelly and Magna, which isn't as interesting or engaging as the opening sequence or the stuff with the Reapers, but I thought it had some good moments to it, especially some of the cinematography shots, following the horses. And there was some feel-good moments in it as well when Magna gives Carl a hug, because Carl is hurting right now because she feels the guilt of, she thinks killing Connie. And, that is a repetitive thing with Carl. She always feels guilty. Every single season we see Carl go through something similar to this. It's kind of being overused, in my opinion, in The Walking Dead. But then again, they're in a zombie apocalypse. These characters go through unimaginable things. They lose loved ones, they make mistakes, and they have to deal with that. And for someone like a Morgan Jones or a Carl or a Daryl, they have to live with those mistakes because they end up being the last people standing every single time. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing the horses, but later on in the episode, we understand why Carl wanted them so badly, why she wanted the horses. It wasn't to really help Alexandria, carry supplies or anything like that. It was for horse meat, because Alexandria is running low on food, on supplies. The children, the women, they need to eat badly. So this is Carol's way of, helping Alexandria. And she does, because at the start of the episode, Aaron wants Carol to help with the rebuilding of Alexandria, but she doesn't want to. She wants to go look for the horses. And, Aaron reminds her that myself and Daryl went looking for Buttons a few seasons ago, and that didn't end too good either because Buttons died. But we understand by the end of the episode why Carol wanted the horses. So I think Carol definitely did give Alexandria a few more days worth of food, or maybe even a week or 2 weeks. But yeah, she's very smart. But also, we can see these characters hurting. Magna and Kelly are hurting because they lost their family member, which is Connie, and they don't really blame Carol that much. But Magna has moved on. She has come to the realization that she probably is dead. Connie is probably dead. But Kelly is holding on to hope. And Carl is giving her that hope as well, which Magna is not happy with whatsoever. So she basically says to Carl, stop giving Kelly hope. Which I found actually a bit annoying because to me, hope is a very big thing to have, and you don't survive in a zombie apocalypse without hope. And in life, you need hope as well. And earlier in the episode, Magna gave Carol a hug because she could see that she was hurting. But then later on in the episode, she kind of turns on Carol by saying, "Look, just stop it. Stop giving Kelly hope about Connie." But Carol doesn't listen because I think Carol wants to, she wants to get rid of her own guilt. She kind of believes that Connie may be still out there. So she goes out and looks for Connie with Kelly. But we all know that Connie is alive. She is with Virgil. Will she survive? Will she get to meet her family again? I'm not too sure, but she definitely is out there, and maybe Carol and Kelly can get some clues to that in future episodes. Also, something important to note was Rosita telling Carol about her dreams, where Abraham visits her and tries to tell her something, but before he can say it, he gets shot in the head. So that could be something that comes back later this season, either to Rosita or to Gabriel. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. But awesome seeing here with all the kids of The Walking Dead, the next generation, Herschel Jr., Rick Jr., and we also have Judith there as well. Another child there, I don't know, maybe that's Alden or Aaron's kid, but they're playing cards. That was fun. There's also some food there because they're hungry, they're really hungry, but there was some food there and they don't like it, so they didn't really want to eat it. But we got some mentions of Michonne, Judith saying that her mom always comes home. RJ was there as well, so I thought it was a very bright and happy scene to see all the kids, and it's good that they got some screen time also. But let's go back to the best moments of this episode, is when the Reapers were hunting down Maggie, because the group got separated. Negan, Gabriel, Elijah, everybody got separated from each other, and Maggie's on her own. I think she goes to this shopping mall or this building, and she leaves a few traps for the Reapers. If they come in that door, she knows. But this was like a horror movie right here. I was like, was this The Walking Dead or a scary movie? Because this Reaper right here behind her with the mask, and it was interesting because he could have killed her, but it looks like he was trying to capture her or trap her, because maybe the leader of the Reapers, I think his name is Pope, we get to see him in next week's episode, he wants Maggie, he wants maybe Elijah or Negan, I'm not too sure, but he didn't want to kill Maggie in that scene. But we also get another scene where Alden also comes into this building and a Reaper attacks him from behind, this Reaper with the mask. And then, I thought it was a cool sequence. I would have liked to maybe go on a little bit longer. Maybe the opening sequence could have been longer as well. That would have been cool. But, Alden gets hurt. He gets cut big time on his stomach. But just before that, Negan came in to save the day. He stops the Reaper, takes him off Alden. And then just, the Reapers are just hardcore. And this Reaper kind of knows, okay, I'm not going to get out of this alive. So he takes out a grenade, I think it's a grenade or some sort of bomb, and lets it off, and he kind of blows himself up, and Alden gets to survive. He's able to get away from it, but Negan saves Maggie. And I find it funny how, Maggie still hates Negan, but Negan seems to be saving her life every single episode, apart from the first episode where he left her to die. But then again, she wanted him dead. But, Negan is saying, we can't stay here. We can't be on any roads because the Reapers will know about it. And that's very similar to what Negan did to Rick in season 6, the end of season 6, going into season 7, where he did block the roads off for the survivors. Then we go outside of this building and we're reunited with Agatha and Duncan. But Duncan ends up dying from his wounds that he got in the opening sequence. And his kind of last message is to Maggie, saying, get Agatha home. But then we cut to the woods. They get surrounded by walkers. Negan comes to the rescue, saves Maggie, but Agatha gets absolutely butchered by walkers. And it was a very gruesome scene, but she ends up dying. And all of Maggie's group, except for Elijah, seem to be dead. They were killed off one by one by the Reapers or by walkers. But yeah, we only got a few episodes with these characters, but yeah, Maggie's group are dead. And I think it's kind of Maggie's fault, but Negan saves Maggie again, and she still hates Negan. But Negan, very much, I'd say, is getting pissed off at this, because Negan was a leader of the Saviors, and he kind of ran a good operation for a long time. But now to see Maggie make mistake after mistake, and people are dying left, right, and centre, I think Maggie is driven by her anger towards Negan and is making bad decisions. Honestly, in my opinion, Negan should lead Alexandria. Negan should lead the group, because he's just a better leader. Maggie, for me, is letting her emotions get the better of her with Negan. Even though Negan has saved her life countless times, he doesn't have to whatsoever. And of course, Maggie doesn't have to keep him alive, but I think they both need each other, and they know that as well. And I also think that Maggie is slowly but surely realizing that Negan is right. We got a terrifying scene right here of a person, well, used to be a person, tied to this tree, ended up becoming a walker. It looks like they were burnt alive. And then there was a sign above this walker saying Judas. And if you're familiar with the Bible, Judas betrayed Jesus. And the Reapers seem to be a very religious group, which I'll get to with Father Gabriel. And don't forget, their leader is called Pope. So it's going to be very interesting to find out about them even more. But Alden is slowing down Maggie and Negan because of his injuries. And they find this church. And, Alden tells Maggie, just leave me behind. Don't leave me any food, any water. Just go. Save yourself. Because Maggie just won't stop. She won't turn back. She needs to get to this location that she believes has supplies, that has food. And I thought it was a very interesting sequence where Maggie doesn't want to leave Alden behind. She wants to save him. But she blames Negan. She's like to Negan, look, only for you, if you didn't attack us years prior, none of this would be going on. And Maggie, wants to kind of guilt Negan or just be higher up above Negan every single time because of her hatred towards him. But Negan basically says, it doesn't matter. You still have to make a decision. Do we bring Alden or do we leave him here? So I loved Negan's response because for me, Negan is just finished with the BS. He doesn't have to prove anything anymore. He has saved Judith. He has saved Alexandria. He beat the Whisperers. He has saved Maggie countless times. I think Negan is done with trying to redeem himself. For me, he's already done it. But I love this shot right here. It reminds me of Negan at the start of season 7 when he bashed Abraham and Glenn's skulls in with his bat, the blood dripping. This time it's a different weapon, and this time he is on Maggie's side. So I found that very, very interesting. And I loved some of the shots here as well. Some of the cinematography, just amazing. Really, really good to look at. And Father Gabriel did have a small role in this episode, and I thought it was a very impactful role, even though it wasn't a large amount of screen time. We get to see him a few hours later. He got separated, of course, when the Reapers attacked them. Here he has a knife or a dagger in his hand, or it's his leg, and he can't take it out. He's praying. But then he sees a Reaper in the distance, an injured Reaper, and then he pulls it out of his leg. So that gave him the power. He couldn't do it while he was praying, but then his anger takes over and he just takes it out. And he comes across this Reaper. This Reaper is badly injured. And he sees that Gabriel is a priest, and he asks him to pray for him. And Gabriel goes, God isn't here anymore. I loved it. And he kills the Reaper, because the Reaper, as I said, they're a very religious group. They seem to be very religious. So he sees a priest. He's about to die. Father, please pray for me. And Father Gabriel goes, no. And the Reaper's like, but you're a man of God. And Gabriel's like, God isn't here anymore. Just brilliant. Loved it so much. And he ends up brutally killing the Reaper. I think Rick would be proud. Gabriel has really come a long way since season 5. His character development has been outstanding. But guys, this has been my review breakdown for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 3, titled Hunted. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. Not as good as Episode 1 or 2, in my opinion, but I did enjoy it. Especially the Maggie-Negan dynamic. It's brilliant. Some of the stuff with the Reapers, the Father Gabriel stuff near the end. Just really, really like that. Of course, maybe the stuff with Carl and Magna and Kelly and Rosita was a bit slow, but I did like to find out that Rosita is having dreams about Abraham, and it was cool to kind of see why Carl wanted the horses. It was for meat for Alexandria, and of course, I really enjoyed the sequence with Judith, RJ, and Herschel Jr. But guys, what was your thoughts on this episode of The Walking Dead? Don't forget to give a like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Come follow me on all the social medias, Movies That Matter. And guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I review all of The Walking Dead shows, all the content, theories, news, break it down for you guys in these videos. Guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy, and see you for next week's review for episode 4.